Commissioners, welcome to our February 4th, 2026 meeting of the Clark County Charter Review Commission. If you would please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioners, and thank you for being here this evening. Michelle, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Ottagame.
Present.
Commissioner Donnelly.
Here.
Commissioner LeBrandt. Commissioner Chair Erickson.
Present.
Commissioner Garber.
Here.
Commissioner Hamlick.
Here.
Commissioner Chrisley.
Chrisley, aye.
Commissioner Landisberg.
Present.
Commissioner Jay.
Here.
Commissioner Klein.
Here.
Commissioner Gasquet.
Here.
Commissioner Holmgren.
Here.
Commissioner Benton.
Here.
Commissioner Haas. And Commissioner Silliman.
Present.
We still have a quorum.
Okay, and
Sorry.
let the record reflect that Commissioner LeBrandt is actually with us as well. Thank you. Okay, next we will consider the approval of the agenda. The agenda was sent out and it's before you as well as up on the monitor. And if there are no proposed revisions, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chairman and Donnelly, I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second, Commissioner Klein.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Are there any objections? Okay, hearing none, our agenda is adopted. And I'll offer that we have a purposefully aggressive agenda. We're hoping that we will be able to get through it all, but we'll take whatever time we need to on the various business items that are listed.
Chair, were you going to call the yeas and nays for that motion in second?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Were you going to call the yeas and nays on that motion in second to approve the agenda?
I asked for any objections and didn't hear any, so I consider that to be approved by unanimous consent.
Okay.
Okay, our next item of business is approval of our January 22nd, 2026. Oh, I'm sorry, yes. We will next move to open public comment.
Carmen De Leon.
Yeah, hello. My name is Carmen De Leon, and I go by Mello. And can you hear me? Because this is
Yes.
different. Okay, so I brought show and tell. Can you pass this one?
Carmen, we don't do that during public comment.
Show and tell?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay. Well, just so you can see it, then it's a golden ticket. Because in my line of work, we make money. And according to the city of Vancouver, it seems like a balanced budget is a foreign thought because they seem to just like wasting money. And that's why I brought this to show you that in my line of work, we used to actually make an emphasis on making money, not just letting it go everywhere because it's not their own blood, sweat, and tears. It's the public's tax-paying money, which is being wasted by the millions, if not billions. I can give you a small example, like the mayor's dinners are $90 a piece since 2021. Hey, $90 dinners, that's fine for the mayor of the city of Vancouver. But you know what? I'm already done with the fraud coming out of Vancouver. I hope you guys understand the immense liability and leakage of money that the city of Vancouver represents, because I have brought ideas of actually making money, which is tourist attractions, instead of building a billion-dollar light rail that nobody uses because we have miles and miles of empty tracks, train tracks over there. We don't need any more. We need tourism, yeah, because we've been associated with Portland and the meth capital of the Northwest for quite some years now. That's why I said to build a trolley that goes from the Expo Center to Ridgefield and bring in money instead of destroying our beautiful environment, make money off of it, because nobody is competing with the Space Needle, but we could. Instead of installing something that's useless like light rail, make something that can actually make you money. Anyways, other things are improving the park or the lake with all the algae by adding ice instead of letting the algae grow. You can chill the water by dropping a piece of an iceberg, push it down the Columbia River, and put ice inside Climb Line, Vancouver Lake, whatever, and you'd have clean water. Other things are, let me see. Oh yeah. So, well, how much time do I have? Okay, I only got 35 seconds. So I guess I'm just going to say, what authority do you guys have to enforce these rules that the city of Vancouver needs to be responsible for all of their fraud that is ongoing on a daily basis? Can you guys punish the city of Vancouver for all of the illegal stuff that they're committing on a daily basis? That's why I don't know what this charter review is about. But if you can't punish the city of Vancouver, who can? Because I've asked Clark County and they said, well, we don't know. Well, then who's in charge of the city?
Thank you.
A criminal.
Chair, that concludes public comment.
Thank you. Okay, now we will move to approve our January 22nd, 2026.
So moved, Peter Sullivan.
Second.
Do we have a second?
Second, John Jay.
Commissioner Jay. Is there any discussion? Any opposed to approving the minutes as they currently sit? Okay, hearing none, the minutes are approved. Thank you.
Amazing.
Our next item of business relates to the absence today of our vice chair. He has a scheduled conflict that was known to him before. With the absence of our vice chair, for the chair to participate in discussion, the gavel will be passed to our vice chair. With our vice chair not here today, we are going to consider a chair pro tempore. We have not yet adopted bylaws, and the draft of our bylaws have no provisions for this. So we would default to Robert's rules, which indicates that the only officer to which the gavel can be passed is the vice chair. And that in the absence of the vice chair, that this body would need to appoint someone else to receive the gavel when the chair participates in discussion. And so I would like to entertain a motion to nominate a chair pro tempore for the purposes of this meeting that would terminate at the end of this meeting, and that they would receive the gavel when the chair participates in discussion and return the gavel at the conclusion of those remarks.
Mr. Chair, I nominate Peter Silliman. Chair Klein, or Commissioner Klein.
Okay, is there a second?
I second. Benton.
Okay, there has been a motion and a second to nominate Commissioner Silliman as the chair pro tempore for this meeting. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I'm not sure I'm totally following the purpose of this. Is it actually necessary in order for the chair to to participate in the discussion, that the gavel be passed? Or can we agree as a group that as long as you're not abusing the time at your own microphone, that can participate as an equal commissioner?
That option does exist should this body choose to adopt that type of a motion. Yep.
I think we're capable and we'll probably not vote in favor of electing a chair pro tempore for this one particular meeting.
Okay. We do have a motion on the floor for Peter Silliman, Commissioner Silliman, to fill that
That would be a
role.
nomination, but is Eric making a motion that we just give the chair the power to engage in discussion and retain the power of the chair for the meeting? Are you going to make that motion?
I think technically we've got the motion on the floor for having a chair.
Well, and that's why I
pro
backed up. A nomination for an election isn't a motion, but
It would not be an election. It would be a motion with an appointment.
okay.
In
Okay.
Commissioner Silliman, you were named in that motion. So if
I don't want to appear too disagreeable.
Yep. So now that it's been moved and seconded, the motion belongs to the body. So if we want to withdraw that, we would need to first agree to withdraw that motion, and then we could entertain another motion to do as Commissioner LeBrand is suggesting, I believe.
Sure.
Okay. Are there any, Commissioner Klein, you made the motion. Do you have any objections to having your motion withdrawn?
It's a simple, short-term, one meeting selection, so I'm going to hold my motion and ask for a vote.
Okay. So we will, is there any other discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
How come we did not ask if there were any other nominations? You just kind of ended it with one person.
It's a good question. It's not an election. It's an appointment via motion. Any other discussion? Okay, we will call the question. The motion on the floor is for Commissioner Silliman to function as the chair pro tempore during this meeting. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
No.
Okay,
We need to
we'll
record
go
that for-
to,
Do we need to record that or indicate?
yeah, we'll go to a division and call that, do a roll call vote. So Michelle, could you please do a roll call vote?
Commissioner Ottaguame,
No.
Commissioner Donnelly,
Yes.
Commissioner LeBrant,
Yes. No, sorry.
Commissioner Erickson, Chair Erickson,
I'll say no, because I don't believe that if this body approves it, alternatively, it's not necessary then.
Commissioner Secretary Garber,
No.
Commissioner Hamlick,
No.
Commissioner Chrisley,
No.
Commissioner Landisberg,
No.
Commissioner Jay,
Aye.
Commissioner Klein,
Aye.
Commissioner Gasquet,
No.
Commissioner Holmgren,
No.
Commissioner Benton,
Aye.
Commissioner Haas isn't here, and Commissioner Silliman.
Aye. It's hard to vote against yourself.
Nine nays, 5 yeas. It doesn't pass.
One absent. Okay, so the motion has failed. Is there another motion on the floor? Commissioner LeBrant, would you like to introduce your motion?
Sure. I'll move that we proceed with the rest of the agenda as written without having a chair pro tempore on the condition that the chair promises not to abuse his privilege during discussions.
Seconded, Adequate.
Mr. Chairman and Donnelly, I would like to ask when it would be in order, and I assume during our bylaws discussion, to introduce a motion to make sure that in future, the chair does not have to give up the gavel. So I want to introduce that, but at the appropriate time.
Commissioner Donnelly, you would have that opportunity when we get to the bylaws section. And for clarification, this is presumably a unique situation when only our vice chair is absent. And in the future, when he's present, this issue would not be necessary.
But I think we should provide for his being absent at another time.
Thank you. And for reference, our bylaws would supersede Robert's rules. So if we have a provision in our bylaws on a topic like this, then we would revert to that rather than Robert's rules. Okay, the motion on the floor is to not require a chair pro tempore and to allow the chair to participate in discussion, provided that the chair does not abuse that authority
In this meeting.
in this meeting. And it was seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there any objection to this motion? Okay, seeing none, it's passed, and we will not have a chair pro tempore for this meeting, and the chair will participate in discussion without abusing those privileges. Okay, thank you. All right, moving along, we will now move to executive committee reports. We expect that this will be a regular agenda item, and it will be an opportunity for the members of the executive team to share information with the commission as a whole. Both myself and Commissioner Garber will participate in this portion of the agenda item, and we'll oscillate back and forth. I'll begin by sharing that I met with the support staff the Monday after our last meeting, which I believe is January 26. It was a meeting that I requested, and I'm grateful for the staff accepting that request and meeting so quickly. I would represent it as an administrative and kind of kickoff meeting where we went over some of the logistics of how we'll be working together. One of the outcomes of that meeting is that we're now meeting in this room, which we're hopeful will facilitate improvement in our ability to hear and see each other, as well as being able to see up on the screen. And so I want to thank staff for accommodating that. The executive team also met, and we went through a number of topics related to the formation of this agenda. And going forward, our plan is to meet on Thursdays unless there is a schedule conflict that one of us has. Thursdays. Yep. Okay, Commissioner Garber, would you like to take on your first topic, please?
Sure. So when we met at the executive meeting, there were a lot of subjects we talked about, and one of them was our website, that I kind of felt that we were hidden a bit on the county's website, under the county council, under the home rule charter. I reached out to our public information officer. I reached out to Michelle and Johnny McAnally, and they have already started to make changes, so it's really good. We're listed in two different places on the main page, one under, I think under government, county government. You can see that we're listed, the charter review. And then down below, there are graphics, and there's another spot where it talks about the Charter Review Commission. So those are much more prominent. And then eventually the IT team will be giving us our own page. So when somebody selects departments, they would be able to find our Charter Review Commission right there also.
Thank you. Thank you for staff for quickly accommodating that change to the website. That change, in our opinion, better reflects the standing of the Charter Review Commission, which is equal but separate to the county council. Next, I want to talk about public engagement. And for the purposes of this matter, I'm going to refer to public engagement as comprising two topics. One being speaking engagements, and two being emails that this commission receives from the public. I'll start by speaking about speaking engagements, describing how we may choose to address them in the future, and how we can handle them in the meantime. So this commission has not yet developed a formal public outreach program. And as part of a future program, this commission may choose to include and create a speakers bureau, which is a phrase that the last Charter Review Commission used. And should this commission choose to do so, then under that arrangement, members of our commission would be formally deputized to speak on behalf of the commission using approved talking points. And under that model, official speaking engagements representing the commission could be offered and received and accepted and then publicized on our formal commission website. Until such a program is developed, commissioners do remain free to accept speaking engagements in their individual capacities. However, when doing so, commissioners should clearly state that they are speaking in their personal capacity and not on behalf of the commission. In the meantime, commissioners are encouraged to voluntarily share their speaking engagements during the good of the order portion of our agenda starting today. Are there any questions on that topic? Commissioner Jay?
Does this mean moving forward after this Speakers Bureau is adopted that we wouldn't be prevented from speaking in as our own individual capacity as commissioners?
Good question. So the reference to Speakers Bureau is a prospective development of this body's formal public outreach. And that phrase is intended to represent that there's members who make themselves available for speaking engagements, and when doing so, speaks to approved talking points. Whether you then are a member of that Speakers Bureau or not, you would not be precluded from continuing to accept speaking engagements. However, unless you are deputized accordingly, should this body agree to that format, you would continue to represent that your comments are your own and not those of the commission. Does that answer your question? Thank you. Okay.
So I have a question. So
Commissioner Landsberg.
John Jay and myself will at some point in time be talking to the forums at Fairway Village, either Republican, Democrat, or a joint forum. So when we go and we're there as Charter Review commissioners asking questions, it seems like we should be able to speak.
Yeah, you absolutely can speak. And I would encourage you actually to do so, because I think it's in the public's interest for members of the commission to go out and speak. The distinction is how you represent the nature of your opinions. If you were to go and speak tomorrow, for example, that would be encouraged, but you should represent and make it clear in your comments that you do so representing your own opinions and you're not there as a formal representative of the commission. Now, in the future, depending on how this body decides to adopt a formal public outreach program, if that were to include what I'm calling a Speakers Bureau, and if you were a member of that Speakers Bureau, you could then again go back to Fairway Village and share comments with them and represent that you do represent the commission, but the talking points would be agreed upon by this body so that there's uniformity in our messaging.
I have one more question.
Please.
Okay, I saw something that Liz Klein put out as chair of the Clark County Republican Women, and has several people who are Charter Review commissioners mentioned as Charter Review commissioners. So when they're speaking, they're just speaking in their individual capacity?
Yes. every one of them would be speaking in their individual capacity and would be encouraged to make that clear when they do so. And I believe that regardless of the number of commissioners who appear at a given event, say it's you and Commissioner Jay at Fairway Village, or it's a larger number at a different event, that request doesn't change. But I would also add that the importance of making that distinction grows as the number of commissioners participating in the event grows, because as that number grows, it could give the unintended appearance to the public that a larger number of commissioners participating may in fact represent the commission. So it would be increasingly important to make that distinction. Commissioner Garber.
So, and part of it would be the public participation. When we have a speakers bureau, if the body elects to decide this, we could put this information on our website, the events. It would actually give more information to citizens. It would probably attract larger crowds at this event and would help us as a body to get the word out. So I think it's kind of a two-piece thing, letting us know what events are, and then we can get the word out that these events are taking place.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Yeah, Commissioner LeBrandt.
Whether or not we go the formalized route of a speakers bureau, just in terms of general practice, I think it can be helpful to specify as we go, hey, this is my opinion about something as one person. There's 15 of us. That helps the public understand kind of where we're coming from a little more clearly. I do think it can be helpful to, as we go, keep some helpful talking points, whether that, because it's not necessarily always going to come up as a member of a speakers bureau. You're going to get a random call from the Columbian or the Reflector or something like that. And you don't want to be on the hook for presenting a position of the Charter Review Commission as a whole. And then come back to the Charter Review Commission with all your fellow commissioners and have to explain, why you said such and such to the media. It just as a best practice can really be good to just make that clear. This is one person, and you can even, depending on the circumstances, as we get closer to specific amendments under discussion, you can even clarify, like, here's where the commission is leaning, and here's where I as an individual am leaning. I might have different thoughts about one thing or another. And again, that just makes it easier for the public. It makes it easier for the press, that kind of thing. So,
thank you. Those are good comments, and appreciate that. Any other comments or questions on this topic? Commissioner Jay.
And if a commissioner is found in violation of these rules, how will the commission, is it just something that we brought up at a meeting, or?
Well, hopefully we won't cross that bridge, but that's a topic that we could take under advisement. I'm not ready to discuss today.
Got it.
Chair,
Commissioner Chrisley.
just want to clarify, we're not planning on voting and adopting this today, are we?
There's no policy before us other than asking commissioners to make sure that they clarify that if you should speak in public, that you are representing your own opinions, because that is the default and it's a clarification. We don't have an alternative, so there's nothing to vote on.
Okay.
Commissioner Silliman.
I was just going to say, this kind of is just an extension of what we already passed in the officer's duties. You are the only person authorized in the bylaws that we approved last meeting to speak on behalf of the commission publicly or to issue press releases representing the group. So unless we authorize other individuals to do that, they aren't authorized to speak on behalf of everybody. So I think that's what your point is, right?
It relates to that, and I appreciate that clarification. But as speaking engagements are presented to us, this is an important topic that we felt like was worthy of taking some of our meeting time. Thank you. Any other comments or questions on this topic?
One more point.
Commissioner Chrisley.
To Commissioner Silliman's point, it says speak on behalf of the commission. It doesn't say the only one that can speak on behalf of the commission. So just to clarify that the bylaws don't specifically say only you can speak on behalf of the commission. So I think it clears up what he was referring to.
Well, I'm going to interpret your comment to actually be in disagreement with what Commissioner Silliman just said. I think the point that Commissioner Silliman was making is that in fact, the bylaws do identify the chair as the only person who's currently authorized to speak on behalf of the commission. Although, as I mentioned earlier, should this body approve a public outreach program, that would change and that there would be multiple members of the commission who would be deputized and authorized to do the same. Okay, if there are no other comments, Commissioner Garber, do you have your next topic you'd like to bring up?
I do, but you had mentioned that you were going to briefly speak about emails too.
I can do that now if you'd like. Yep. So we have, as a commission, received a number of emails that were directed collectively to the commission, and we don't yet have a protocol for how or if we would collectively respond to that. And we intend to talk about that amongst the executive committee and then bring that forward at our next meeting for consideration by this body as to how this body would like to react to those types of commission-wide emails.
Thank you. So one of the other items that we discussed was making sure to remind everyone to speak clearly into the microphone and make sure that you are stating your name for the record. I did listen to our recording last week and it is a little difficult, so please make sure you do that. We also talked about how we tended to get away from topic, and so we'll want to try to rein ourselves in a little bit quicker. And we talked about making sure that there's plenty of dialogue before a motion, so the motions aren't constantly changing. Maybe we can kind of build a consensus and really get an idea what the motion is before it actually occurs. So it was just some ideas to think about as we're going forward. And last meeting under good of the order, it was brought up, I believe, by Commissioner Silliman about inviting elected officials, or it might have been somebody else. I might be wrong on that, but we wanted to let you know we have not forgotten about that. We will be bringing that up in a future one. So it's not forgotten. It's just, we'll probably bring it up next week.
So point of information, we do have an elected official here.
Ms. Landisberg, it's really hard to hear you.
Point of information, there is an elected official here.
Yes, we do have an elected official in the audience. I'm grateful for his attendance. And the topic that Commissioner Garber is referencing is the possibility of extending formal invitations to elected officials to come and address this body. And we'll take that up for discussion in a future meeting, perhaps as early as our next one.
Chair, I would like to make, I've been told that there's people trying to get on that cannot get on. They attempted to join at 5:28, meeting is not in progress, followed by guest join not allowed.
There are several people on right now.
I just got the text.
I'll look in the background of it really quick.
Okay.
Yeah. No, definitely. Thank you.
Okay. Our next item of business then is comments by support staff. And Michelle, we'll turn the floor to you to make your comments.
The only comment that I have is is for everybody to make sure that you're viewing your Outlook calendars. Your Outlook calendar is a very, very critical tool that you all have access to. It helps to prioritize your tasks. It gives you visual aids. Hopefully it provides less stress, but to maximize your calendar as well, you all have currently calendar holds for our meetings on some of them. I'm only going to make 2 updates moving forward to each date. One would be where I put on the WebEx information, which is on there now. And the second one would be after the executive team meets and they send me the agenda items and any visuals or presentations that they want up there, then I'll go and link those to your calendar invite as well. So it will alert you when there's been an update. So just as a reminder, all of that will be found in your calendar as well. So if you have any questions, though, you're always free to call me. That's all I have.
Thank you, Michelle. In our next meeting, we will, at this point of our agenda, comments by support staff, we're going to hear from the representatives of the prosecuting attorney's office to add some clarification as to what kind of legal support this body can expect and not expect. Am I describing that well, Chris?
That works for me.
Okay. And the reason I extended that invitation in the meeting that I referenced earlier with support staff. This topic was touched on and some comments were shared with me that I thought would be beneficial for the body to hear directly from our legal staff. Okay, our next order of business is to continue with the review of bylaws. In our last meeting, the review of bylaws was tabled. Is there any objection to removing the bylaws from the table and continuing where we left off, which was at the end of section 5, meaning that we would begin our deliberations now at the start of section 6?
Mr. Chairman and Donnelly, I intend to propose a motion addressing the issue of the chair and vice chair being able to take part in debate and discussion without handing over the gavel. And that, in my view, could logically go in section 5, officers. So is it appropriate for me to describe the motion and to propose that it is little italics number 8? It would come right after the vice chair will perform the duties of the chair when the chair is unable to perform those duties.
Okay, so I believe the motion that you are asking or proposing is to take the bylaws off the table and rather than resume in section 6, to pick up within section 5 to address that specific topic. Is that your?
Correct.
Okay,
yes.
would you like to make that motion?
Yes, I would. The chair or the vice chair, if the vice chair is
Commissioner
presiding.
Donnelly, would you like to begin with the intent to make a motion?
Oh, yes, I intend to make a motion.
Okay.
Addressing the right of the chair and vice chair to
Okay.
continue in discussion.
So the motion is to take the bylaws off the table and to resume discussion within section 5 rather than section 6. Is there any opposed to that? Okay.
Second, Peter Silliman.
Okay.
That's a motion to go to section 5. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. Okay. So it's been moved and seconded. Is there any opposed to that? Okay. So the bylaws are before us now, and we will resume in section 5, starting with Commissioner Donnelly's recommendation or motion.
So just to explain the basis for the motion, I believe it's unnecessarily cumbersome to hand the gavel over for just the purpose of the chair or vice chair wanting to take part in discussion. So here is the motion that I think will do that. And it would be little italics number 8. The chair or the vice chair, if the vice chair is presiding, may take part in discussion and debate during commission meetings without handing over the gavel, so long as she does not abuse the right to do so.
Commissioner Donnelly, can you clarify where in section 5 you're saying that this would go?
Yes, it would come right before duties of the secretary. So it'd be little number 8. Does that make sense?
Do you mean duties? It would become right before duties of the vice chair, and it would be Roman numeral 7.
Yes, it could go there. Yeah.
Okay. Michelle, do you have that? Okay.
Should I say it one more time? Yes. Okay. The chair or the vice chair, if the vice chair is presiding, may take part in discussion and debate during commission meetings without handing over the gavel, so long as he/she does not abuse the right to do so.
Friendly amendment. Commissioner Landisberg, instead of saying he, she, can we just use they?
Yes, I would accept that.
Okay. So the motion on the floor, did you get that, Michelle?
There's too much background with people coming on. I've updated the link. You have to give me a second.
Okay. We'll pause briefly while Michelle, I have received a message again that there are people who are struggling to get on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So for the benefit of those who may be just recently joining us online, and now that Michelle is available to capture the verbiage of the proposed motion. Are you ready for that, Michelle? Okay.
Should I read it one more time?
Yeah, yes, please. So we'll, for the benefit of all, including Michelle and those here in the room, Commissioner Donnelly, if you could repeat your motion at a pace that would allow Michelle to type it as your.
Of course. And I will incorporate the good change indicated by Commissioner Landisberg. Okay, so tell me when you're ready. Okay, the chair or the vice chair, if the vice chair is presiding, may take part in discussion and debate during commission meetings without handing over the gavel, so long as they do not abuse the right to do so.
Michelle, do you have a way to put that on the screen?
Good evening. Otto here. Michelle, do you want me to share my screen with the track changes and try to type this in the document live?
Thank you, Kathleen.
Okay, hold on. So my apologies, Commissioner Donnelly, you're going to have to repeat it. I got part of it. So let me just share my screen really quick so you can actually see as I type in the track changes. Can everybody see my screen okay
Yes.
with the document?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, is it big enough?
Yes.
Yes.
For me, yes.
Okay, so I have the chair, vice chair. If the vice chair, and I'll clean up the little typo here, is presiding, may take, and Commissioner, if you could continue on, please.
Okay, should I go ahead? May take
Please.
part in discussion and debate during commission meetings without handing over the gavel, so long as they do not abuse the right to do so.
Thank you. So the motion on the floor is to add section 7 as it's presented up on the screen. The chair or vice chair, if the vice chair is presiding, may take part in discussion and debate during the commission meetings without handing over the gavel, so long as they do not abuse the right to do so. Is there a second?
Second, Landisberg.
Okay, the motion is second. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Jay.
I do have a little bit of worry and concern about this regarding, there is a reason why in Robert's rules that we do prevent chair, why the rules were designed in such a way to prevent chairs from engaging in discussions without handing over the gavel. I don't see it as it being an inconvenience for us, or very large of an inconvenience for us to appoint a temporary pro tempore chair in meetings in which the vice chair, or if in case the vice chair is at the chair, whoever that may be, in their absence. So that being said, especially because we do not define what an abuse is, I think what's in Robert's rules makes sense. And so I'd be willing to keep it as is, follow what is Robert rules standard practice.
Is there any more discussion on this topic? Chair? Commissioner LeBrant.
So originally, my proposal for making that adjustment in our agenda for this meeting, and why I would support this particular addition, is because at the end of the day, we run the risk of getting bogged down in parliamentary procedure, and at some point we need to come together as a group and I think stay focused on the task that is ahead. I think there's a certain amount of give and take that we're going to have to do as a working body, just in terms of having discussions as equal commissioners, and a certain amount of faith that we will need to have in our duly elected chair. And I will express some faith in our duly elected chair to not abuse that privilege. But at the end of the day, we're all equal commissioners, and I think we probably shouldn't sacrifice our time that's available to get the actual job done for the sake of too much parliamentary procedure.
Thank you. Are there any other comments on this topic? Okay, hearing none, we'll take this to a vote. All in favor of the proposed revision as proposed by Commissioner Donnelly, and which we see on our screen now, section 7, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
Nay.
Nay.
Wait.
Nays.
You're asking for hands to be raised of those who voted no. Okay. So we had 5 noes, 9 yays. So the motion passes and the amendments are approved. 5 noes, 9 affirmative, 1 absent. The motion passes and the bylaws are updated accordingly. Okay. Let's move to section 6. Are there any proposed revisions for section 6?
Would you like a motion to approve section 6 as written?
I'd be happy to entertain a motion to approve section 6 in its current format.
So moved.
Second.
Silliman moved. Donnelly seconded.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any opposed to adopting section 6 as it currently stands? Okay, seeing no objection, section 6 is approved. Let's move on to section 7, committees. Are there any proposed revisions to section 7, committees?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we adopt section 7 as presented.
Second, Commissioner Jay.
Sorry, this Commissioner LeBrandt making the motion.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to accept section 7 in its current format. It's been seconded. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Landisberg.
I object to the part where committee members are not charter members.
Can you refer to the specific portion to which you refer?
It says under regular number 3, the committee chair has the responsibility to appoint additional committee members who may or may not be commissioners. And I don't want non-charter review commissioners on these committees. I think we can open the committee meeting to the public and have input from other people, but I think it should be purely charter review members making the decisions.
I second that, Commissioner Donnelly.
Well, we don't have a motion on the floor yet.
I thought that was the motion.
I will exercise the change that we just instituted and make my first comment. And I agree. I agree that members of our committees should be members of the commission, and that non-members of the commission, it would be inappropriate to make them members of our committees.
Are you stating that as a proposed amendment is my question?
We don't have an amendment. We don't, well, we're under, actually, we have a motion on the floor actually to approve section 7 in its current format, and we are discussing that right now. So,
Correct. So my question is, are we discussing the amendment? Is it just discussion? Or
right now
are we
it's
proposing an amendment and we're going to then discuss a change.
Yeah, it's good.
Do you want to change it? If you do, you propose it and say, I moved to amend.
But we have
maybe strike that language.
We have a motion on the floor to approve in its current format, so we would
correct
dispose of that
remove
first.
that specific language.
He's asking to amend
I-
that motion,
Thank
I
you.
think.
Was that your intent?
Do you want to strike that language?
I want to strike the language
So
on 3A and keep the rest of it.
entirely, strike A entirely?
Who must be?
I believe that would work to your intent.
We should just do that. May
So
not be-
I'm confused because I'm not
Okay.
good at procedure, in that for the committees, the body will decide, like Commissioner A is going to chair the cheerleading committee. Then would the commission then appoint the members to the committee who like we would ask, how many people here want to serve on the cheerleading committee? And people could just raise their hand. Are we delegating all the appointing to the actual chair of the cheerleading committee?
I have a question, Commissioner Hamlick. My question is why would we want, I mean, why is this in here? Why did they see before to put this in here? I mean, what's the reasoning behind that they would want someone not as a commission into a committee?
Well, I'll endeavor to answer that. And the short answer is I don't know, but in having spoken with one of the past co-chairs of the last commission, that person expressed the opinion that it did not make sense and didn't agree with its inclusion in their old bylaws. Commissioner Gasquet.
Yeah, this in practicality didn't happen. So I think that and basically what happened was we formed the committees, then people volunteered to be on the committees. And then when that committee first met, they voted on their chair. So then that's in practicality. We didn't use it in any other way.
I support striking 3.
Okay. So the motion that's still currently on the floor, Commissioner Jay, do you have a comment?
We still need portions of point A, as that is how, Commissioner Jay, we still require portions of point A because that's how additional committee members are appointed. So I would like to see rather that additional committee members must be, maybe appointed who must be charter review candidates or some commissioners or something along those lines.
Suggested friendly amendment just to strike A after members. So from who onward would be stricken. That means the chair has the ability to appoint additional committee members.
So can we dispose of the motion that's on the floor now, which is to approve it in its current format and then come back and entertain other motions for amendment? So is there any opposition to the motion, to disposing of the motion and voting down the motion to approve in its current format?
So technically, Mr. Chair, we've got the motion to approve section 7 as written.
Correct.
I'm hearing some consensus around striking some or all of section A. I'm willing to withdraw my amendment and then we could do that, but we would still need to probably look at a motion to approve the rest of it.
Agreed.
So,
Mr. Chair, I believe the proper procedure is we have a motion on the floor to approve it. Within that motion, we have the ability to propose amendments. And at the end of the amendments, we come back to the original motion.
Correct.
So
Yeah,
if Janet's motion has been made to amend it and seconded, we consider that a motion.
Yes.
Once it's approved, then we go back to the original motion of Mr. LeBron to approve the section.
Yes, thank you. So, Michelle, are you able to capture what's being discussed in
Yes,
The
and
amendments.
as of right now, we have the grant approved for section 7 to be as written. I believe it was Jay that seconded the motion. Potentially, I have Landisburg as striking 3A completely, but there's no second for that at this moment.
Holmgren seconds.
your second is with respect to Commissioner Landsberg? To strike it entirely?
Striking entirety of section
And-
3A.
Could I propose a
Commissioner-
friendly amendment to make it strike it after appoint additional committee members? That would imply that they're from the committee and it strikes all the language about other.
I would, yeah, but I will accept it. I just want to see how it says appoint additional committee members.
Period.
And then what are we striking?
Everything after that.
Everything after that?
Okay.
Or we could leave it, appoint additional committee members who are commissioners.
Mr. Chairman, I would support Peter Silliman's suggestion because we have to point out, appoint additional committee members who must be commissioners. It seems to me that
That work
that's
for you?
the simplest language.
Okay, so what I'm willing to accept as a friendly amendment based on Commissioner Silliman is under A, it says appoint additional committee members who are commissioners, period.
Okay,
That's
I like that. So the proposed amendment is to make the language appoint additional committee members who are commissioners. That's your proposed amendment and that's
Yes.
been seconded?
Holgrim's,
Yeah, Commissioner Holgren?
Seconded it, so.
Though I do have a comment. I think the reading of this section suggests that 3A is still not necessary because it says the commission will create, appoint, and dissolve committees. Then the next section talks about the committee selecting the chair. So I think that the appointment of the members of the committee is contained in section 1, and then section 3 was about 3A was about adding additional members. And I'm not sure if they're all going to be commission members, if it is necessary to give the chair the authority to add people to that committee outside of the commission.
Commissioner Chrisley?
If I may, just a point of clarification, I think this is the committee chair, not this chair. It's the chair of the individual committee has these responsibilities. Is that right? Right?
Correct.
So-
Yeah, but my point was that I think Commissioner Jay's concern was that there wasn't a procedure for appointing members to the committee, only a way of selecting chairs. And I think that is included in section 1, because that's then implied by section 2 that the committee is the one selecting the chair. So there has to be a committee first before a chair is selected.
Just a question on when you read it. How would you know that non-committee members could not be on the committee unless you actually put that in here?
That's not my that I'd be fine with saying that language. I guess I assume, but I meant more the concern about the committee chair appointing additional members of the committee, because it seems like that isn't really the responsibility of the chair. The responsibility is that the commission appoints members of the committees.
I would tend to agree with that.
So then what are you actually proposing or suggesting or whatever?
I would propose that we still strike all of section A, and you could include in point 1 that the commission may create, appoint, and dissolve committees. And in a second sentence, include a comment that is committees must be, or in a separate section, committees must be made up of only members of the commission.
Commissioner LeBrant.
Just playing devil's advocate for a moment, my read is that we wouldn't necessarily we don't necessarily need section A at all. These are the bylaws for the Charter Review Commission. So whether or not someone is participating in a committee, they're not technically a member of the committee anyhow. If we're going to stand up a committee under the auspices of the Charter Review, it needs to be made up of Charter Review commissioners. And line B says that the chair is going to call for meetings of the committee, and presumed in that is going to be that any of us commissioners could participate if we so choose.
Mr. Chairman, a question. Do we anticipate that the committee chair would be the one to appoint additional members? And I would say that that would go along with what I would imagine would be the responsibility of the committee chair to constitute the committee that he or she felt was best. So we would need to make sure that it's the committee chair who gets to do that.
Well, if we refer back to the last commission, the commission as a whole convened the committees, identified the members, and then let the members amongst themselves appoint the chair. I believe that methodology worked well, which would appear to conflict with section A, that after the fact, the chair is then adding additional members to the committee. That decision presumably would belong to this body, that the composition of the committee would be established by this body, that their charge and scope of work would also be established by this body, and that they would move forward with the number of members identified by this body working under the charge of this body.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jay.
Given that Commissioner Landisberg has accepted the friendly amendment, and judging by Commissioner Holmgren's words that he won't support it unless it strikes all of 2A, would I be able to usurp his second Commissioner Landisberg's proposed friendly amendment?
For the benefit of all, can you restate the amendment that you're proposing?
I'm not proposing, I'm seconding Janet's.
It's already been
And
seconded.
Janet, you want to for the benefit of the body, since there's been some discussion,
You don't have
restate
to-
the current version of your
Right, we
proposal.
discussed it, but you might.
Believe
yeah,
it was
Technically, you can't.
under 3A, appoint additional committee members who are commissioners. Though, as I understand Commissioner Gasquet, last time, you would just say, we're going to set up the cheerleading committee. Everybody want to join it, raise your hand, and that's how you did it. And I think that's a better process, and I'm not sure that's how it's written. Okay, I'm not really good at this technical language.
I would agree that the way that section 3A is written doesn't agree with your understanding, and I believe what you're proposing. And I think what I'm hearing is that there's agreement generally that the way that the last commission operated, which is that this body would set up the committee, establish the membership of that committee. Then in their meetings, the committee would, amongst their members, from the members of that committee, they would appoint their chair. If that is the intent that in the way that we want to operate, then I believe 3A would be stricken. And we could have language that would clarify what I just said, including a prohibition on non-commissioners being members of that committee, if we so chose.
Well, here's the question. If we're going to do what we've said, if you read 2, it kind of implies that it still might have non-charter members. That's the only thing that I think needs to be tightened up.
So,
When it says the chair must be a commissioner. I would just leave the first sentence and take off the rest of it.
Pardon me, Mr. Chair, should we move on to whether the friendly amendment, whatever Commissioner Landisberg, however she states it, whether that's accepted by the movant and the seconder before other amendments are mentioned?
yes. So Michelle, can you read back according to your record what we have as the latest?
Unfortunately, it was an amendment originally. So it was an amendment to strike 3A and it was seconded. So that was an amendment to the original motion. That amendment has neither been withdrawn or concluded yet. And if we want to make a friendly amendment, don't we need to take care of that first one? Yeah, it was an amendment. It wasn't a friendly amendment originally. So verbiage is very important, but.
So to clarify then, the current motion is to strike section 3A.
Correct.
Okay.
Does
So,
Janet want to concur with that?
I concur
okay,
with that.
okay,
That is your amendment to strike 3A, and that's currently what's on the table.
okay. So the motion on the floor is to strike section 3A, B, C, D, and E, and presumably move up.
Seconded by Klein.
Okay,
It's already been seconded. Walton Green.
Very good.
okay. So is there any objection to adopting that change? Okay. Hearing none, then section A is deleted.
Can I make another friendly amendment?
We just struck A.
No, to section 2.
Well, that would be I believe that's Michelle, or do we have can you clarify according to your records?
So we've
That
moved.
amendment has been approved by you and the committee. So this would be a
now we're back
brand
to
new
discussion
proposed
of
amendment, if
section
that's what
7
you're
overall.
talking about.
So back to the discussion on section 7.
As amended.
As amended.
Okay.
Is there any discussion on that?
Right, on subsection 2 under section 7. So regular number 2 under Roman numeral 7. I don't think we need the language, the chair must be a commissioner, since we decided we weren't going to have non-public members of the committee.
Is that a motion?
All right, I'm moving to strike the words, the chair must be a commissioner.
I'd like to second that, Commissioner Garber.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to strike from section 2 of section 7, item 2 of section 7, the sentence, the chair must be a commissioner. Is there any discussion on that topic? Okay, hearing no discussion, is anyone opposed to striking the chair must be a commissioner from item 2 of section 7? Okay, hearing none, that phrase is deleted. Then we're back to the motion of section 7 as amended.
Correct.
Commissioner Gasquet.
Commissioner Gasquet would like to motion that we add to section, the first one, that members must be appointed from the commission.
So is there a second?
Second,
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that item 1 of section 7 be added onto by clarifying that members of the committee would be appointed by the commission. Is that correct?
Appointed from the commission.
Appointed from the commission. Thank you. Is there any discussion?
How would it actually read, Commissioner Gasquet? Can you read the whole section as you're proposing it?
It would say the commission may create, appoint, and dissolve committees as deemed necessary to conduct the commission's business by a simple majority vote at a regular commission meeting, and members must be appointed from the commission.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? Is there any objection to amending item number 1 of section 7 to include members must be appointed from the commission? Okay, seeing none, it's adopted. Commissioner Jay, did you have your hand up before then? Or was that? Okay. All right. So we are back to section 7 as amended. Commissioner Jay, did you have a comment?
Wait for this vote to end.
Okay. So the motion on the floor now is to the consideration of section 7 as amended. Is there any objection to adopting section 7 as currently amended? Okay, hearing none, it's adopted. Move on now to section 8, vacancies on the commission. Are there any proposed revisions for section 8? Commissioner Jay.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept sections 8 through sections 11.
Is there a second?
Second. Peter Solomon.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to accept sections 8 through 11 in their current form. Is there any discussion?
Commissioner Chair, Commissioner Agami, I would like to offer an amendment to that motion, provided that we add a point 4 to section 9, which describes the normal order of business.
So your amendment is to accept sections 8 through 11, provided that section 9 receive item number 4, which reads how, please?
Item number 4 should state order of business. And then below that, list the normal agenda items, such as call to order, pledge of allegiance, so on and so forth, for the general meetings of the commission.
Okay, is there a second to that secondary amendment?
I'll second Commissioner LeBrun.
Okay, so the current discussion is to accept sections 8 through 11 with the provision that section 9 include item 4, section 9 relating to meetings, and item number 4 be added to include a list of normal business items.
Yes, titled order of business.
Okay, and what are the, and for normal business items, for clarity, it would include pledge of allegiance, roll call, approval agenda, open public comments, approval of minutes. And then beyond that, is there anything else that you are proposing to be included specifically?
I believe we should also include the items we addressed today, such as communications from the executive committee, communications from staff, public comment, and any other items which are germane to most meetings of the commission.
Would it be fair to characterize that as old business and new business?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, and then go to the order. Okay,
Landsberg has.
Commissioner Landsberg.
Okay, and I don't know where it fits in, but we had a discussion under good of the order last time that we would look to limiting public comment to actual agenda items. So when you have, this is section, was it 11, talks about participation and non-discrimination. Is that where we could tighten up public comment?
Well, that's a good comment or a good question, Commissioner Landsberg. We actually have on our agenda today, provided we get through our bylaws, that topic will be addressed specifically.
But what, shouldn't that be part of the bylaws?
It could be, that would be for this body to decide, although the agenda item we have an item on our agenda today to address that specifically, and it need not necessarily be exclusively in the bylaws.
Mr. Chair, could I ask our legal counsel, isn't the agenda for each meeting required to be published under the OPMA, which is covered in item number 1?
Yes, it is.
So isn't this redundant for us to say the agenda needs to be part of each meeting when it's covered in item 1 under section 9 already? Under that requirement, under the RCW? That would be my suggestion, is that it is, and it's not required or not necessary. It would be a duplicate in my mind.
Commissioner Gaskin.
I just want to point out, it already says germane public comment in the bylaws.
Thank you. Okay, the motion on the floor is to adopt sections 8 through 11 with the provision that section 9 be a
Point of order, Mr. Chair, what's on the floor is actually the amendment to add section 4.
correct.
Correct. Just want to clarify.
Okay,
Thank you.
Commissioner Holmgren.
Yeah, I think we just approved in the committee section that there would be regular committee reports as well. So it seems like that should be added after like executive committee reports if we're going to have that in the agenda.
I would agree. One, I will speak as representing my own views here. While I appreciate the intent, our agenda is likely to fluctuate, and we may have one-time items that come in. And if the agendas are required to be posted per OPMA, that while it wouldn't hurt, wouldn't find it necessary to include specific agenda requirements within our bylaws. Commissioner Jay.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Jay here. I motion that we table Commissioner Adegwame's amendment to my motion.
Is there a second?
Second. Klein.
The motion on the floor is to table the amendment.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Since the motion that's currently on the floor is to amend Commissioner Jay's original motion, tabling, my understanding is tabling Commissioner Adegwame's motion, then tables the amendment. I think we could call the question, but I don't know that we can table Commissioner Adegwame's motion without also tabling the underlying amendment or the underlying motion.
Is your recommendation then to call the question on Commissioner Adegwame's?
That would be my suggestion. Yeah.
Well, that's well taken. Is there any, let me first check with Michelle. Your records, where do we stand to make sure that we proceed accordingly?
I guess I would choose to look to legal to ask Chris, can an amendment, can a motion be made to table an amendment to the original motion? Would that also table the original motion?
Couldn't tell you.
Peter, you have the.
Mr. Chair, I would just suggest that a motion to table in this case would be out of order because a motion to table is really saying we're going to delay voting on this, and to delay voting on the amendment means we can't vote on the section of this bylaws. We're delaying the entirety, which means we're delaying the entirety of adopting the rest of the bylaws. So, Mr. Chair, you have the liberty of ruling it out of order. And we could go back to the original amendment and
the points are well taken, that there is an amendment proposed on the floor, Commissioner Adegwame's, and that we would dispose of that first. Commissioner Klein.
I think that it would be appropriate for us to show order of business shall include but not be limited to. Therefore, we can amend. The agenda is not held to what the structure is being recommended by Commissioner Adegwame.
Commissioner Adegwame, would you accept that as a friendly amendment?
I would accept that.
Commissioner LeBrun, I'll accept that as a second.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the motion on the floor then is with respect to Commissioner Adegwame's amendment to add section 4 to section 9, which is order of business shall include but not be limited to, with the list of items including pledge of allegiance, roll call, approval of agendas, open public comment, approval of minutes, executive committee reports, comments by support staff, go to the order. And I believe the intent was to include old business and new business. Michelle, if you could please add that.
Where would you like that on the agenda? Because old business would probably include approval of the minutes, and then new business. Do you have a preference where that will be?
I would see it as coming, I'll look to Commissioner Adegwame, but I would see it as coming after comments by support staff.
Chair, I'm open to your placement of it in the order of business. The intent here is just that we're determining what the regular order of business is for the commission, not that we're making a prescriptive agenda for every meeting.
Yes. So Kathleen, I wasn't quite sure what your comment was, but if the question is where would it be placed, I would envision it would go after comments by support staff. Old business, then new business.
Thank you.
Okay. So the motion on the floor then is to adopt section 9 with section 4 added as shown on the screen. I won't read it again. It's been seconded. Is there any opposed to adopting section 4, a new section within section, item number 4 within section 9? Okay, seeing none, it's adopted. We'll go back to the motion then to adopt sections 8 through 11 as amended, including the amendment we just made in section 9. I believe that was moved and then seconded. Is there any further discussion? Mr. Landsberg.
I have a question on the meeting of the 3 minutes so that when we get to the presentation by the clerk of the court and the chief judge of the Superior Court, I would hope that they would be able to make a presentation in more than 3 minutes. So I didn't know if that would limit them or whether we, as agenda items, can just have a particular speaker or presentation.
Commissioner Landsberg, can you clarify which section are you speaking to specifically?
Section 9, subpart 1, 11. Oral public comment will be limited to 3 minutes for each individual.
I would represent that I believe that intends to refer to the public comment like we've already had. And should we choose to invite guests to speak to us, including public officials, that this body could decide what that time limit would be, and that the two are different.
Thanks for the clarification.
Okay. So the motion on the floor then is to adopt sections 8 through 11 as amended. It's been seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say no. It's adopted. Thank you. Okay, we are now then on to section 12. Are there any proposed amendments to section 12?
Mr. Chair, I'll move for the approval of section 12, 13, and 14. Silliman, sorry.
Is there a second?
Second, Commissioner Donnelly.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to adopt sections 12, 13, and 14 in their current format. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Are there any opposed to adopting sections 12, 13, and 14 in their current format? Okay, hearing none, they are adopted. Now move on to section 15. Are there any opposed amendments to sections 15?
Mr. Chair, point of clarification. Do we know what the auditor's policies and procedures we're agreeing to here are?
Is your question with respect to section 15?
Yes.
The question is, do we know what the auditor's policies are?
Yeah, it says we're agreeing to submit to the county auditor its proposed amendments in accordance with the auditor's policies and procedures. Do we have those? Is that a written procedure?
Well, the
Or
the
policy, or is
auditors,
that-
Landisberg, the auditor will tell you there's a primary coming up on X date, and all submissions to the voters pamphlet has to be in by another date. And Commissioner Garber would know more about this.
Right. The county auditor creates an administrative guide that tells committees when the statements for and against, the explanatory statement, the ballot language, all these pieces must be turned into the county auditor. For a November election, it's no later than the date of the primary, but we have to work backwards because we have to get a resolution written. We have to have all those pieces, but they do create an administrative policy, and it is written.
Well, I'm aware there's going to be deadlines for submittals and other things like that, but is that all we're agreeing to here?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner LeBrant, I'd like to suggest that section 15 might be an appropriate spot to discuss submittals to the county having a threshold of 9 votes. For the sake of us reaching consensus.
Okay.
Commissioner LeBrant, isn't that addressed in section 16 where we actually have 2 paragraphs in there that discuss the adoption of proposals and a vote to send those proposals to the auditor? Wouldn't that be a better topic to address in that section?
Mr. Chair, I would agree with Commissioner LeBrant. I think submittals to the county is another subsection. I think it's one thing to pass something out of committee, but I think it's another to use a simple majority to place the item on the ballot. So I would agree with increasing the threshold.
And to Commissioner Sullivan's point, I'm not married to where it necessarily goes in the bylaws so much as suggesting that as something we take
I'm
up.
just saying under section 16, number 2, it says the proposed charter amendments for submission to the county auditor will be approved or shall be approved at a regular meeting. No amendments are allowed. The votes for should be adoption or rejection of the amendment. The names of those commissioners voting yea or nay shall be recorded. I would think that if that's the vote by this commission to submit, I would just, a friendly suggestion, if you want a vote threshold, it might be more appropriate there.
I would agree with Commissioner
makes sense.
Sullivan's point on that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Commissioner Aragón, I think there's some discussion. Could you repeat your comment so we could all hear it?
I would agree with Commissioner Sullivan's point on that. I do believe that 16.2 is the point where we should insert any language germane to how many votes are required for that submittal.
Okay, thank you. So let's go back to section 15. Sounds like there's some discussion that we'll be having on 16, but for the purposes of 15, are there any proposed revisions to 15?
Just, do we really need it?
That's what we're discussing. Christine, do you have any comment as to the necessity of section 15?
I think it's a clarifying sort of thing that states that y'all really do have to follow the auditor's rules, the rules of the elections division to get something on the ballot. I would leave whether it's necessary or not up to the commission's pleasure.
Commissioner Landsberg.
Question, if you go down to 16 and it already talks about the auditor, that's why I'm just wondering, and Commissioner Sullivan is saying, what are these actual rules which we don't have? Can we just skip 15 and still talk about you having to go and submit our stuff to the county auditor? You're going to ultimately making us a schedule of when we have to do everything.
Well, the intent is that, and we have it on our agenda today, if we get to it, to have a work plan that would take into consideration those types of deadlines. If I understood correctly, Commissioner Silliman, your comments were with respect to understanding exactly what what those requirements are.
It was, and in response to her comments, perhaps we just want to table that section and address it last. If we don't get through the rest of this by this evening, we could perhaps ask the auditor what these policies and procedures are, have them at our next meeting, and then approve them first and sign off on this. I'm just saying, I don't know what this is specifying. Is this saying there's a deadline procedure? Is there a format procedure we need to submit our material to him in? I just don't know what it's referring to since we have.
Mr. Chairman.
Chair, Katie Joma online, she's the attorney, has her hand raised and would like to chime in.
Okay, we'll let Commissioner Donnelly speak and then we'll go to her.
Yes. I believe it's essential that we retain section 15, just as we just learned that it clearly delineates that this is not our responsibility. It's the responsibility of the auditor's office to lay out those timelines and procedures. And I think that has to be in there. So I would strongly recommend that we retain that.
So it'd be our, Commissioner Donnelly, do you intend to say that it's the commissioner's requirements and it would be our responsibility to understand them and comply?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, understand, Katie. Okay. Can we let her speak?
Thank you, Chair. So I am in the process of preparing a short slideshow for the charter to show you at your next meeting what this year's process and procedures are for the submission of your resolution to the auditor. Because the elections change their dates every year, I would agree with Commissioner Donnelly on this, that leaving it as more generalized in that we follow the auditor's rules is appropriate because they are subject to change. But that being said, this year, the auditor has already prescribed the dates set. And so I was collecting those for you already, and we'll have that information available to you at your next meeting.
Thank you.
And just to touch on that, the submissions for a November election are always 90 days before. So to the discussion point, it's it has to be prior to the primary elections, but that is not the language of the statute. It's 90 days. And then, as you also have in here, you have your own restrictions on time and publish going before that. And you should know as well that it does have to be in resolution form. Previously, it was signed by a majority. But again, that is up to it's your decision on what your requirements are for passing a resolution. You also have to file it in accordance, like all other resolutions, with the cover page, so on and so forth. So because there's a lot of details around how these submissions work, again, following the auditor's rules is what I would recommend.
Chair, if I may.
I'm sorry, I think I saw Commissioner Garber's hand up first, and then we'll come to you.
I think maybe if we just change the language to say, rather than in accordance with the auditor's policy and procedures, it could just be a little more clarifying by saying the auditor's administrative rules regarding ballot submission, because they do have a printed guide that talk about all the features that must be provided to the auditor for ballot submission. So maybe auditor's administrative rules regarding ballot submission.
Thank you.
I actually don't have any problem with the language. I just wanted to know, when are we going to be informed of that? And I'm perfectly happy being informed in the next meeting exactly what those are. So I appreciate the response. And with that, I'll move for the approval of section 15. If somebody would like to second that.
Well,
Okay,
Commissioner
second.
Matagami had a comment first.
Thank you, Chair. I actually do think that if we were to adopt the language that Commissioner Garber was just speaking about, that would be a stronger way to represent our actual requirements here in the charter, and so, or sorry, in our bylaws. And so I do think adding that specific language would be to our benefit.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner LeBrant.
This might be a very mundane question, but it says the commissions shall submit. Who submits? Is that staff? Do we want to clarify that? Is that the chair? Who does the actual submission to the county auditor?
I think it's done in the name of and on behalf of the commission.
By
a motion of this body.
Right, but I mean, who actually hands that off to the auditor's office?
Michelle? I don't know. I suspect it's staff.
Okay.
Might be an attorney who's reviewed the language.
Okay.
I don't know how necessary that is, but it is done on behalf of the commission.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Donnelly, I just want to make sure that our legal advisors are okay with the change that Commissioner Garber suggested.
Katie Jolman here, DPA. My recommendation would be to not change that because administrative rules have a specific meaning. And they themselves have to have a specific process for being passed. And I wouldn't necessarily say that what the auditor publishes is necessarily their own rules. My interpretation is that it falls under policies and procedures because they do change every year depending on the dates. And so I would advise against changing it to that because of the way that the auditor publishes its own materials.
Thank you. Are you suggesting then that it stay as is?
That would be my recommendation.
Okay.
And I'll restate my motion to approve it as written.
Commissioner Jay seconds.
Peter Solomon moved.
Okay, the motion on the floor then is to adopt section 15 in its current format. Are there any opposed? Okay, seeing none, it's approved. We'll move then to section 16. Are there any proposed revisions to section 16?
With some appreciation to Commissioner Silliman for pointing this out. I'd like to suggest section 1 as a place where rather than a simple majority, that we revise section 1 to require a 9-vote majority of a quorum of the commission.
Seconded by Adegome.
Commissioner LeBrant, can you point to the specific language that you are suggesting? So we can see
The last sentence says a seconded motion to propose an amendment to the charter must be approved by a simple majority vote of a quorum of the commission. And so I am suggesting, and so I'm not making a motion yet because I think there's probably a fair amount of discussion we can have, but that we consider changing that to a vote of 9 or more commissioners.
Okay.
And I think that can potentially save us a lot of headache for things that even after they get through this commission still need to go before the voters and get approval of a majority of the voters. And I think we stand a much better chance of that if we can develop consensus within this group.
Okay, so there's no motion on the floor yet, so we'll continue with discussion until there is.
So you don't want to discuss it as a proposed amendment that you proposed it as an amendment and he seconded it. So do we want to discuss it as an amendment and then vote on it as an amendment?
I thought you said that you're not making the motion.
I haven't.
So you do make a motion to approve something or make a motion to amend it and then you discuss it. After you discuss it, you vote on it. So I think that's the proper order to do it in.
All right. I will move that we adopt.
You did.
Section 16 with the amended language that of the last sentence of section of part 1, a seconded motion to propose an amendment to the charter must be approved by a vote of 9 commissioners.
Okay.
And Commissioner Alagami, you seconded that.
I will second that motion, yes.
Right, so the motion on the floor is to adopt section 16 as amended, which changes the vote threshold from majority to 9. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Gay.
Can we consider the amendment separately and then go back to voting on section 9?
Yeah, we're considering the amendment.
Yeah.
Commissioner Jay.
9 is an arbitrary number. We are a duly elected body, and I think we, and generally in a democratic republic, you operate by a majority. And I think a majority of this commission is powerful enough on its own. And given the extreme hurdle of having it passed by the electorate is already too high enough thresholds, I think if we want to actually conduct business, we need to stick to a simple majority. If we adopted a 9 or a higher than a majority, we would operate standard operating procedures that are even more egregious than the United States Senate, which still operates under a simple majority, regardless of ending debate with the filibuster and the cloture rule. I think we should operate on a majority.
So here's the question.
Commissioner Landsberg, if you could wait to be called upon, please. Commissioner Landsberg, please proceed.
Commissioner Jay, and when we're saying a simple majority, like today, we have 1 commissioner absent. On other days, we might have 2 commissioners absent. So are we going to say it's a majority of those present or a majority of the total membership?
Majority of those present.
The way it currently reads is a simple majority of the quorum of the commission, which, if I understand that correctly, it isn't always 8 then, if we have low attendance. Who is next?
I think Commissioner Klein was, and then
Commissioner Klein.
Commissioner Klein, I stand in agreement with Commissioner Jay and will be voting in opposition to the amendment for a vote of 9. I support the simple majority.
Commissioner Klein, is your comment with respect to keeping the current language, simple majority of the quorum, or to keep it a majority of the commission?
Simple majority as it is currently written, Chair.
Okay, simple majority of the quorum. Commissioner Hamlick.
I just have a quick question for Dorothy, since she was in the last commission. At that time, did you guys think about changing this to a different situation? I'm just wondering if you had a problem with it last time at all, or?
I mean, no, we had some stuff fail, but that's on, the voters get to decide. We can't decide for them. So I don't think there was really any issue. By that time, everyone showed up to the meeting, and so a simple majority was a vote of 8.
Mr. Donnelly.
I would strongly support keeping the language as is with a simple majority and let the voters decide. I think in most cases, that's our ideal. And a simple majority will tilt the balance in favor of the electorate.
And just to clarify again, Commissioner Donnelly, is your comment in support of the current language, then the simple majority of the quorum?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other comments? Commissioner Holmgren.
I think that discussing it as simple majority of the quorum seems, I would support potentially switching this to being 8 members, a simple majority of the membership of the commission. I appreciate the interest in creating consensus and going with 9, I think that creates an opportunity to make sure that there's broad agreement on this body rather than necessarily simple agreement to changes to the charter itself. But I think if we are to stick with a majority requirement, I think the majority should be of the elected members of the commission and not those present at any given meeting.
I would agree with that sentiment as well. I think 9 is a threshold that maybe is too high. But if that proposed amendment fails and somebody wants to propose that the amendment should be 8 votes of the commission instead of a simple majority of a quorum, I would probably support that. So I'll be voting against the amendment, but
I would submit that the cost of putting something on the ballot is fairly high. My understanding is it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $100,000 to have an amendment on the ballot. And I think asking for one more vote is a responsible use of taxpayer resources.
Any other discussion with respect to the amendment? Commissioner Chrisley.
I think Commissioner LeBrun makes a good point, right? It's no small feat to put something onto the ballot. And so when you have a body having one extra vote to save the taxpayers a lot of money, because if it can't pass out of this body with a 9 vote, it's not likely to pass on the general ballot either. And I think we've seen that in previous commissions with things that went through that some could argue they shouldn't have made it to the ballot. And I think obviously, those folks were correct. And so I think 9 is a good number.
Chair.
Commissioner Adegwami.
I'm actually inclined to ask that we go even higher and go for something like 10. I know we don't necessarily need to have unanimous consent for all of the ideas, and ideally we're able to disagree productively and have a lot of really good conversation to the benefit of the things that come out of this commission. However, I would be inclined to support 9 if that's the highest threshold that this body thinks it would like to adopt.
Okay, Commissioner Jay, I think you've spoken already. Is there anyone else who has not yet spoken to the amendment that would like to? Commissioner Garber.
So I am in favor of a simple majority. I think that is effective government when you have a full body and you're voting. So I do believe 8 of a full body of the commission. But I think it's for anything that we do going forward. When we look at proposed charter amendments and people start talking about requiring council to have more votes than a simple majority. I think for effective governance, you want to just have a simple majority. So I'm in favor of changing it to 8 to be a majority of the entire commission, not just those present.
Okay, is there anyone who would like to speak to the amendment who has not yet spoken?
Mr. Chair, can you call the question?
Yeah, I'm going to speak to the amendment myself, and then we'll call the question. I appreciate the sentiment that's behind the intent here. I think as we were out as candidates commissioning for our current roles, I think we all would agree that the majority of our population doesn't know much about our charter. And that leads me to believe that there are probably very few of our voters who will make a decision on whether they vote for a future amendment with a knowledge of how many votes from this body approved a given amendment. Whether it be 8 or 9, I don't think that will actually come to bear very frequently on the majority of our voters. I think there may be a narrow band of voters who are very involved in our political process, but I think the majority of our voters will probably be unaware of that and will have a bearing on their decisions. Okay, before we call the question, I'll offer one more time if there are any other comments. Okay, the question on the floor then is the amendment to item number 1 of section 16 to require 9 votes in the affirmative to refer an amendment to the auditor. I believe that's the intent. Is that correct?
Actually, the auditor is this, section 2.
Yeah,
but
okay.
This is just to approve.
Simple majority. So rather than saying, you have it up on the, I'm have a difficulty reading it.
Sorry. But you're correct. Changes a simple majority for the body to approve an proposed charter amendment, changes it from a simple majority to 9 votes.
Yep.
Is the proposal.
Approved by 9 votes.
Sorry, Chair, you're looking at me. That wasn't my
Yeah,
motion.
just looking for clarification that this correctly reflects your amendment.
This would be Commissioner Love Grants.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Say no.
No.
Okay, the majority is no, and the motion fails.
She'll need to record votes. So
You asking
maybe
for-
the affirmatives would be the quicker vote for Michelle to record.
Okay. So how many nay, if you vote a nay, if you could please raise your hand. Sorry, thank you. The clarification. Voted aye in the affirmative. If you could please raise your hand. Aye. 1, 2, 3,
Where is agreed upon by the commission?
4. Thank you. Okay, so we are back to section 16. From our discussion, I believe there's some interest in still amending this last section of item number 1. Anyone like to make a motion to that
Mr.
effect?
Chair, I do have a motion I'd like to add to this section. Since you've already indicated and proposed that you would like to have a work plan that describes our work process, I would like to propose an amendment to that, and I can give Michelle a hard copy of this, but it says rules and procedures for the work plan, the CRC, will use for considering proposed charter amendments shall be presented by the chair and approved by a simple majority vote of this commission. That's my proposed amendment to section 16. I'll give Michelle the wording. Sorry, I didn't have that in advance.
I'll second Commissioner Jay.
Yes, please.
And
If you'd like me to speak to that.
I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. It's where it would occur. It's in addition to item number 1.
It would become number 1 in section 16.
Okay.
And the others would move down.
Okay.
And basically the purpose is you're saying this is kind of the work plan. Looking at your outline so far, it's saying we're going to have an open and transparent process about how we're going to work through this. And that fits in this section because number 1 previously was how are we going to vote to approve the final product? And then number 2 was we are going to have a vote to send that to the auditor. So I'm just saying by adding this amendment, my intention is to say that's part of our bylaws is that you're going to produce this plan, present it to us, and we're going to approve it as a body. And in effect, I think that makes it kind of part of the bylaws because it's a rules and procedures adopted by this body by majority vote. That's my intention.
Okay. I appreciate that. I would offer as a member a friendly amendment to clarify that it's not the chair's work plan. The executive committee would bring it forward for consideration by this body and then adopted by this body, and that it's not the ownership of any one person. Before we go further, I want to bring up that it is almost 7 o'clock, and that it doesn't feel like we're going to finish our discussion on bylaws. We have another agenda item regarding discussion on public comment. And I think it's important that we at least get in good of the order.
Okay.
And so I would entertain a motion to table once again the bylaws to our next meeting. Commissioner Benton.
I'd like to motion the table. Benton.
Klein.
Second that.
Second.
Never mind. Fine.
Okay.
Can we request, from staff that we receive a copy of that proposal before our next meeting?
Yes, and can I verify? I believe Silliman, you made a motion, correct?
Yes.
For this.
For this amendment, but we
Mhm.
just tabled it till next week. So if you
Okay.
can just send that wording.
Thank you.
Yep. And Commissioner LeBrand, are you referring to the proposal that's Commissioner Silliman was making?
Yes.
Okay.
I have no way to discuss it unless I actually get a chance to see it. So,
Well, I believe we just motioned to table it till
Yes,
next
we
week.
did.
So that's what
Yep.
we're going
so
to vote on.
that works.
Okay, so in the interest of time, since it is 7 o'clock, we will also I would move that we entertain a motion to table also discussion on public comment. Is there any objection to tabling discussion on public comment to our next meeting?
Can't we just see if we can address it in 1 minute? I thought most of us were in agreement that we didn't want people making open comment on non-related agenda items.
Well, I can touch briefly on what this is about. Did you have a comment?
Yes, I do. I do not agree with limiting open public comments.
Okay.
I believe we should allow the freedom to make whatever comments people would like to make. It means a great deal to a very small number of people, and I believe that we can listen to them as long as they are limited to 3 minutes.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I would move to table the remaining items on the
Yes.
agenda and adjourn.
Yes, I think
second
we
that.
should put
I
off the
think
discussion.
Commissioner
Yes.
Gascade is your
I will
comment.
second that motion.
Okay, any opposed to adjourning then?
I still think that we need to talk about the good of the order and go through a few things. You had asked if that people, if they had any speaking engagements, that they would be addressing it in good of the order.
Okay, so the suggestion is to, before adjourning, to go through good of the order. Is there, I think the motion that was made and seconded to adjourn. Would, think you made, did you make it, Commissioner LeBrand?
I'm willing to accept a friendly amendment if we're quick.
Okay, so the second to adjourn, would you accept the friendly amendment to include good of the order before amending, or before adjourning rather? Did you have that, Michelle?
Yes.
Okay. Who was it?
So relative to what you're, Liz Klein, you're talking about disclosing public comments or public meetings. Clark County Republican Women is going to be holding a dinner meeting, a regular dinner meeting, and we're going to have a panel of 4 commissioners. Basically this goal is to educate our body, the attendees, about the commission and give them an opportunity to answer questions after our panel has gone through and given some insight about the commission. And everything will be prefaced with the fact that these are going to be individual perspectives and not representative of the commission.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other items for good of the order?
Can I say, you can take the papers from your binders, but please leave my tabs.
Okay. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn. Commissioner LeBrand.
Any opposed to adjourning? No. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. It's going to be longer than a minute. There you go.